Coldplay literally used 3 chords to write one of their most iconic songs ever, and one of the most iconic songs of all time. But it's not the 3 chords that you might expect. When people talk about pop music and like, oh, it only takes 4 chords to write a pop song, here are the chords they're typically talking about. Some variation of that. We have, if we're in the key of E flat, we have a 1 chord, maybe we have a 5 chord, or we could start on the 4, 1, 5, minor 6. I mean, just those 4 chords alone, you could do so much with. But Coldplay didn't do that. Coldplay used completely different chords and used one less of them. When we listen to Clocks, we hear this. Oh man, the nostalgia hits so hard. This is one of the most iconic piano intros of all time, and if you ever wanted to learn how to play it, it is incredibly simple. The 3 chords are as follows. This right here is E flat to B flat to G. Now what does that make up? E flat major. That's chord number 1. And all we do is we play it with both hands. Now you can start this just by playing it with one hand, but eventually you're gonna wanna play both hands, but luckily the 2 hands are playing the exact same thing, which makes it a little bit easier. Easy, right? Now we get our second chord. This is how simple this is. There is our second chord. It goes D flat, B flat, F. And what does that make up? Makes up B flat minor, right? So we have E flat major to B flat minor. And our final chord goes like this. C, A flat, F. Now that is an easy one. It's just F minor. Those are the 3 chords that Coldplay used to write Clocks. It is that simple. Thank you very much for watching. No, I'm just kidding. There's more to talk about because this is actually an insanely cool device, and I think it's one of the reasons why it became one of the most iconic songs of all time and one of Coldplay's greatest. Three chords, E flat major, B flat minor, and F minor. It is that simple, but as we listen to the song, we're gonna hear some interesting things, and it's gonna teach us something really interesting about harmony. Check it out. Okay, so far, we have heard only just the 3 chords. There's been no changes, okay? But that's gonna change. Still the same. Still the same. Whoa! Hold on, something changed there. The line didn't change, we're still playing all the same shapes. That didn't change at all, but something changed. Listen right here. This is really interesting. Okay, now I'm gonna listen to one specific thing to find out what's going on here. I'm gonna listen to the bass line. Sometimes it's hard to hear, but it's the thing that's underneath everything else. This is the key to transcribing. If you want to find out how your favorite songs are constructed, this is the thing you're going to listen to, because as we're about to show, all of this information about our chords that we're using, these notes here, they can actually be used to tell a slightly different story depending on what we do with that bass line. Let's check it out. All right, so right there, I heard our first 2 notes, E flat to B flat, but then Ah, there's something interesting there. E flat to B flat. While we're still playing our B flat minor sound, our bass note goes up to D flat, and then the bass plays A flat and D flat together while we're still playing B flat on top. And then we go from our B flat sound to our F minor sound, but we're playing an A flat in the bass. What is going on here? We've changed something so small, yet has it had an impact on the harmony? This is a really important question, because what we're about to learn is that all of these sounds that are major from the original chords have a minor that is its relative. And all the sounds that are minor have a relative major. This is what's going to become really important as we dig a little further into what's going on here. It is 3 chords, but there's a little more to the story than just that. So, E flat, we've kind of done nothing with that. Here's our B flat, but watch this. Well, this is interesting. We're still playing the B flat minor, but now we have a D flat as our bass note. Does that change anything? Could it be D flat major? Could it be D flat major 6, right? Or is this still B flat minor? Here's the cool thing. It doesn't really matter, because B flat minor and D flat major are basically the same chord. Check this out. D flat major. If I play it with a D flat in the bass, it just sounds like D flat major. But if I keep exactly the same notes and I play B flat in the bass, now it becomes a B flat minor chord, except it has the 7th in there because we still have that left over from our D flat major chord. But B flat minor and D flat major are pretty much the exact same chord. Why does that work? Well, let's take a look. If we play our D flat major scale, what happens if we play all these same notes? Right? We have all the black keys plus F and C, okay? If we play all these same notes, but instead of starting on B flat, we simply start on B. Now we get this. That is simply the B flat natural minor scale. The natural minor scale is just a mode of the major scale. It uses the exact same notes as the major scale, but when you start it on this other note, it all of a sudden becomes a minor scale. That is why we can play B flat or D flat major. B flat minor or D flat major, they are the same sound. So when we do something like B flat minor with a B flat in the bass, but then we switch it, it kind of doesn't matter. Now the exact same thing is about to happen with the next chord. Normally, it is F minor, right? But as we know, the minor chord is just a mode of the major scale. Okay, well, if this we know has a relative major, how do we find it? Very, very easily. Let's go back to our D flat major. Remember how we did this? But we said let's start those exact same notes from B flat instead of D flat. Let's answer this question. What degree of the D flat major scale was B flat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that means that B flat minor is the 6th mode of a major scale. Let's work backwards. B flat is the 6th of only one scale, and that, as we just showed, is D flat. Let's do the same thing now in F. We know it's an F minor chord. Well, what is F the 6th of? Is it the 6th of C? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Is it the 6th of B flat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, it's the 5th. How about A flat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. F minor is just A flat major. Watch what happens when we start messing with these sounds. A flat is the bass note right there, but we know that this doesn't matter because it's the the same exact sound. And so we haven't actually changed the chords at all. We've simply changed the root note. And maybe you could say that maybe it's major, maybe it's still F minor, but it kind of doesn't matter because they're basically the exact same sound. Harmony's not meant to trick you, it's meant to be easy and it's meant to be useful. And this is why Coldplay was able to utilize different bass notes to create a little bit of interest instead of just playing the same exact thing over and over and over and over again, even though that is what we're doing in the piano, but it's an epic piano line, so who cares? The bass note tells a different story, but it's also kind of not that different because it's just the same set of notes. Music theory is easy. Let's keep going. There's our A flat again. And now we go back to the next verse. And there's F again, right? They're interchangeable because they're basically the same sound. Easy. It's an easy piano line. You can learn it. Now we get something completely different. Oh man. And I love how we hold out this F because watch what happens. Now I said Coldplay wrote clocks with 3 chords. I think it's pretty much true. And it's almost gonna remain completely true because watch this. When we take this note, it's just such a beautiful sound. This is G flat major 7. Right? And this might be the only thing that doesn't fall into our 3-chord theory. And I'll show you why. Because here's the 3 chords that we use for this section. D flat major to A flat major. This is gonna be really interesting. G flat major, D flat major, A flat major. Now, G flat major is the only one I don't think fits into this thing, but why do D flat and A flat work with our theory? Let's go back to what we said before. We were talking about F minor and B flat minor because they're part of the B flat minor, F minor, right? When we look at these chords on the bridge, again, it's D flat major and A flat major. Well, what are the relative minors of those 2 chords? D flat, the relative minor, is the 6th of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is B flat minor. D flat major and B flat minor, basically the same sound. Let's go to A flat major, that's the other chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh look, it's the F minor chord from our main line. So even though we now have this big, beautiful opening up of this major sound, it's bright, it's hopeful, it's this huge buildup, right? But we just have 2 chords that we basically already played. We just played them with different root notes and in a different context in which they felt a little bit darker and a little more subdued. But they are the relative majors of the chords we've been playing this whole time. That's why this is so brilliant, because Coldplay literally used 3 chords. Now, G flat major 7 technically falls out of the realm of these 3 chords. But to make the point of the relative major, relative minor thing that we are learning in this video, we just won't really talk about that. But if we were to say, well, what is this? What is the relative minor of this? There's our 6th. It would be E flat minor. We don't have E flat minor, but we do have E flat major, right? So we might consider that a little bit of, maybe that's a little bit of modal interchange. Oh, there's a word I didn't really learn that much about in school, and I don't know if I'm using correctly. That's actually such a cool transition there because we're going from the G flat major 7. Now, if this next chord were minor, this whole thing would fall perfectly into the explanation I've been giving you. But instead, we just substitute it for major. And I think that's just the coolest transition of all. It's the one that doesn't fit, and it's the one that might provide the most color harmonically in this entire tune. Coldplay wrote a lot of bangers, but this one has a special place because it's the one where we can learn about relative minors and relative majors. Music theory is easy. Coldplay just proved it. That's gonna be all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next one.